This customer never tipped. Then this happened. Every delivery driver has that one customer, the customer whose address makes your stomach sink the second it appears on the screen. The customer who complains constantly, the customer who never tips, the customer every driver warns new employees about. According to one pizza delivery driver, their store had a customer exactly like that. The guy ordered constantly, called constantly, complained constantly, and somehow, no matter what happened, he always found a reason not to tip. Drivers hated delivering to him. Managers hated dealing with him. Even customers waiting in. The store sometimes recognized his name when it appeared on the order screen, because trouble always followed. Then one rainy night, the store received another order from him. Nobody wanted it, but somebody had to make the delivery. At first, it seemed like another routine headache, a late-night pizza run. A rude customer. No tip. End of story. Except this time, the customer made a demand. And according to the driver, that one demand ended up creating the most satisfying act of malicious compliance he'd ever witnessed. According to the driver, the customer had built a reputation over years. Not weeks. Not months. Years. The guy never answered his phone. Never gave clear directions. Never turned on his porch light. And somehow always blamed the driver. Pizza cold. Driver's fault. Traffic delay. Driver's fault. Wrong side of the driveway. Driver's fault. According to employees, he treated every delivery like a customer service hostage negotiation, yet management tolerated him because he ordered frequently. So every few days, another unfortunate driver got assigned his address. Then came the night everybody still talked about. Years later, it was pouring rain. Not normal rain, the kind of rain that makes visibility disappear. The kind of rain that turns driveways into rivers. The kind of rain where every driver secretly hopes for an easy shift. Instead, his name appeared on the delivery screen. The entire store groaned. According to the driver, even the manager laughed, because everybody knew exactly where the order was going, and everybody knew exactly how the night would probably end. A complaint, an argument, and zero tip. The driver grabbed the order, got in the car, and headed into the storm, completely unaware that this delivery was about to become legendary. By the way, if you've ever worked retail, food service, or delivery jobs, make sure to subscribe, because trust me, the customer hadn't even started making bad decisions yet. 20 minutes later, the driver finally reached the address, and immediately something felt wrong. The house was completely dark. No porch light, no hallway light, no sign of life whatsoever. According to the driver, it honestly looked abandoned. So he parked Dot, grabbed the pizza, and walked to the front door through pouring rain. Then he knocked Dot nothing. He waited. Nothing. He knocked again. Still nothing. Then he called the customer, straight to voicemail. He called again. Dot voicemail, Dot again. Voicemail. At this point, the pizzas were getting colder. The rain was getting heavier. And according to company policy, drivers couldn't just leave food unattended without permission. So he contacted the store. The manager tried calling too. No answer. Then, finally, the customer called back and immediately started yelling. Apparently, he wasn't home. Apparently, he was on his way. Apparently, the driver should have known that. Somehow the manager explained the situation calmly, then asked what he wanted done with the order. And that's when the customer made the mistake. A very expensive mistake. Because according to the manager, the customer shouted, "Just leave it on the doorstep." The manager paused, then repeated the instruction back just to be sure, and the customer repeated it again, louder. Angrier. Leave it on the doorstep. So the manager documented the instruction. The driver documented the instruction, and then they followed it exactly. The driver carefully placed the pizzas on the front doorstep. According to him, he even made sure they were positioned neatly. Boxers flat, receipt attached, exactly where the customer requested. Then he took photographs, several photographs. Because everybody at the store already knew what was coming next. The rain continued pouring. Water streamed across the porch. The cardboard boxes slowly started darkening. The driver got back in his car, completed the delivery, and headed back to the store. According to him, nobody said much when he returned. They simply waited. Because everyone knew the phone would ring eventually, the only question was how long it would take. 30 minutes later, the store phone exploded. According to the driver, he could hear the customer yelling from across the room, not speaking loudly. Yelling, the customer demanded a manager immediately. Apparently his pizzas were ruined. The boxers were soaked. The toppings had shifted. The food was cold. According to him, the customer sounded absolutely furious. The manager calmly asked what happened. The customer launched into a rant immediately. He blamed the driver, the weather, the delivery process, the store, basically everyone except himself. According to employees nearby, the call went on for several minutes. The customer barely paused long enough to breathe. Every sentence got louder. Thought every complaint got more dramatic. Apparently, he claimed the driver intentionally ruined the food, which honestly made no sense. Because according to store records, the driver had followed instructions perfectly. Then the manager asked a simple question, one question that immediately changed the conversation. Sir, did you tell us to leave the pizzas on the doorstep? The customer hesitated, only for a second, then admitted he had. But according to him, that wasn't the point. The manager disagreed completely. Because according to the delivery notes, the instruction had been confirmed twice. Not once, twice. The customer specifically requested doorstep delivery, even after being told nobody was home, even after being told it was pouring rain, even after being warned about leaving food unattended. According to the manager, the customer made the decision himself. The yelling immediately got louder. Now the customer wanted a replacement order, free AF Shagji, delivered immediately. The manager refused, politely, firmly. And according to the driver, that only made the customer angrier. Now he started threatening bad reviews, corporate complaints, social media posts, everything he could think of. Then the manager delivered the line. Everybody still remembered, Sir, we did exactly what you told us to do. Silence, a long silence. Because for the first time, the customer didn't have a comeback. The manager wasn't arguing. He wasn't debating. He wasn't negotiating. He was simply reading the customer's own instructions back to him. And according to the driver, that completely killed the argument. The customer tried changing tactics. Apparently now it was the driver's responsibility to know better. The manager disagreed again. Because the driver wasn't paid to ignore customer instructions. The driver was paid to follow them, which is exactly what happened. The customer eventually hung up, still angry, still complaining, but without a refund and without replacement pizzas. According to employees, that should have been the end. It wasn't. The next day, the customer called back again, this time hoping somebody else would give a different answer. Instead, he got the same manager and the same explanation, the same notes, the same documented instructions, and the same result. No refund, no replacement. According to the driver, most people would have given up after the second phone call. Not this customer. Apparently, he was absolutely convinced somebody would eventually cave. So, over the next week, he kept calling. Different managers, different shifts, different employees, same complaint, same answer, every single time. According to staff, the customer became more frustrated each day because nobody was changing their story. Nobody was apologizing. Nobody was offering free food. The documentation was simply too good. The delivery notes existed. The manager's notes existed. The driver's photographs existed. And unfortunately for him, they all agreed. The pizzas were left exactly where he requested. Then something unexpected happened. Corporate actually received a complaint. According to the driver, the customer escalated the issue above the store. For a brief moment, employees got nervous. Corporate complaints can be unpredictable. Sometimes facts don't matter. Sometimes companies just give refunds to make problems disappear. But according to management, corporate reviewed everything. The notes, the call records, the photographs, the weather report. Everything. And apparently, their conclusion matched the store's. The customer was responsible for the outcome. No refund approved. No replacement approved. Case closed. According to the driver, that decision spread through the store like wildfire. Because now everybody knew the customer had lost. Completely. And honestly, employees were thrilled. Not because they hated customers, because they hated being treated badly. The customer had spent years assuming every problem could be solved by yelling louder. For the first time, that strategy failed. Then the funniest part happened. A few weeks later, another order came in. Same address, same customer. The entire store noticed immediately, and, according to the driver, everybody started laughing. Because this time, the delivery instructions were completely different. Very different. Apparently, the customer included multiple notes. Call when arriving. Wait for customer. Do not leave unattended. Do not leave on doorstep. Do not leave outside. The instructions went on and on. According to employees, it looked like somebody had learned a painful lesson. A very expansive lesson. And from that day forward, the story became store legend. New drivers heard about it during training. Veteran drivers told the story whenever difficult customers came up. Managers still laughed about it years later. Not because the customer got soaked pizza, but because he engineered the entire disaster himself. He's step by step. Instruction by instruction. Complaint by complaint. Until eventually, there was nobody left to blame but himself. And honestly, the funniest part wasn't the ruined pizza. It wasn't the screaming phone call. It wasn't the failed complaint. It wasn't even corporate rejecting him. It was knowing that for the first time in years, the customer had absolutely nowhere to hide. The driver followed instructions. The manager followed instructions. The store followed instructions. The rain simply did what rain does. The only person responsible for that soggy pizza was the man who shouted, "Just leave it on the doorstep." And according to the driver, years later, employees still remembered him as the customer who ordered dinner and accidentally delivered himself a box of wet cardboard. Stories like this are always satisfying because nobody got tricked. Nobody got framed. Nobody got sabotaged. The customer simply got exactly what he asked for. And sometimes, that's the most brutal form of karma there is. Because when things go wrong, you can't blame anyone else. You have to look in the mirror. But what do you think? Should the store have replaced the pizza anyway? Stories like this are always satisfying because nobody got tricked. Nobody got framed. Nobody got sabotaged. The customer simply got exactly what he asked for. And sometimes that's the most brutal form of karma there is. Because when things go wrong, you can't blame anyone else. You have to look in the mirror. Should the store have replaced the pizza anyway? Or was the customer completely responsible for what happened? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy malicious compliance, entitled customer stories, workplace revenge, and satisfying karma, make sure to subscribe for more.